Hello and welcome to the next in my series about permaculture design principles. Today I'm having a think about designing from patterns to details, and our icon for today is a Spiderman web, and the little saying that goes with that is you can't see the forest for the trees. This principle is asking us fundamentally to look at the bigger picture before we get stuck in to the small things. So step back, or imagine that you're in a hot air balloon looking down over a bigger space, or the connections to the things that you're looking at, or how is this panning out over time. But just step back and look at the patterns and the bigger picture. If we do that, then actually we save ourselves a lot of time and wasted effort by not kind of drilling into the minutiae of things too quickly. There are patterns in nature. There aren't actually very many of them. It's just that all of nature really is founded in these core patterns. They emerge in natural systems because nature is essentially trying to do as much as it can with minimal effort and minimal resource. And so what emerges out of that are these patterns, so patterns of waves, of fractals, of branches, of lobes. Nature likes to create curves and round spheres and circles. And there are networks and webs. Essentially, when we grasp what those basic patterns are and we look around ourselves, we just see them everywhere. And not only are they out there in nature, but they're in us too. So something like a branching system, for instance, we might think literally of branches on a tree. But if you look on a map at a river delta, it's the same thing. It's a branching system. If we look inside our own bodies, then the pattern that's in our lungs, in our circulatory system, in our nervous system, they're all branching patterns. So these things are out there and they're in us. They are also, we can sometimes see those things in our patterns of communication, or the way we relate to other people, or how we behave. So I think they're about things like patterns of waves, patterns of spirals. There are waves. If we notice, if we observe and interact, we go back to this first principle, we notice changes in our energy. It might be on a daily basis, it might be on a weekly basis. We might have more energy or less energy at weekends. It might be seasonal. So we can, if we observe those patterns, and then also we go back to this idea of catching and storing energy. So we recognise the patterns in our energy, then we're better able to design how to catch and store it. And I think we've probably talked about that a bit previously. In the way that we think, spirals are quite a common pattern there. And sometimes those spirals are really creative, so we have an idea and wow, there's a knock-on idea, and then it gets really exciting and we kind of become really creative. That kind of spiral is really exciting to be part of. Equally, sometimes we can have thoughts that kind of spiral down, spiral in, and become quite destructive and quite difficult. Where we recognise them and then we design around them and for them and with them, we can then choose to disrupt the patterns or the habits that we don't want to see, and we can choose to design to reinforce and uphold those patterns that we do want to see. So whether we're doing that for ourselves internally, whether we're doing that in our relationship with others, whether we're doing that when we are designing a garden or a landscape or a city or whatever, an economy, design from pattern to detail. And yeah, there is so much more. This is I've tried to do this so many times this evening, and there is so much we can say about patterns in nature and their application to our own lives and our own design. But I'm not going to do more now. I might write a little blog piece after this to expand on that a bit more. I think the next one we're going to look at is our little snail, which is small and slow solutions. So hopefully I'll see you again next week, and I look forward to speaking to you again then. Okay, take care, have a good week.